I was expecting sunny weather. That's what the weather app said. So I have a morning ritual that I do every single day, which is having 3 glasses of warm to hot water. It's close to hot. It's helped with my digestive system a lot. I've got to get through this maze now. It's like a proper maze if you can look at it. Camera, reflectors and stuff, and there's garbage which I need to clean up, and actually I have to bend down, make sure I don't touch anything, because I move something and then suddenly my whole orientation is off and I need to set that up again. Don't want to be doing that. All set for my workout. Let's go! I love sled work, but unfortunately ever since I started working out at home, I've not been able to do any exercise with sleds until now. So I got this grip mat from IKEA, turned it upside down. A 141 kilo power block here, and another one right there. And I put my 20 kilo vest on top of it. And then I either use rings when I'm doing sled work for my quads, or today, since it's mostly predominantly for my hamstrings, I pushed away from the back. That's it. Forgot I have my creatine before workout. I prefer having it around 20 to 30 minutes before my workout begins. I keep procrastinating. I say, I'll do it. And then lo and behold, I completely forget about it. For some reason, false grip training is not being too compliant today. I guess it's one of those days. So I'm gonna keep trying to do it, but if I can't, well, switch to normal grip. You are gonna have those kind of days, by the way. Not every day is gonna be perfect when it comes to technique or your form. You just wanna be as perfect as you possibly can be to avoid injury. By the way, if you haven't seen my video on false grip, go check it out. I don't know, is it this side or this side? I'll attach it somewhere, but yeah, it's my previous video. Go check it out. Bye. I'm running against the wind is not fun at all. Normally I'm around 125, 130 beats per minute. But today I'm a little bit tired, so I'm around the 135 range. But today my heart rate's around 150. And that's because of the wind. Because it's much harder to go against the wind. Fun times. I've been working out from home for almost 2 years now, ever since the whole vid situation started. And in those 2 years, I've come to realize there are certain equipments that I use on a daily basis, which might not be mandatory. It's not that you can't live without it, but it definitely makes a world of a difference. And I'm not talking about the usual equipment that you start off with, like your dip bars or your pull-up bars, or your pair of rings, or your dumbbells. Those are the absolute necessities if you want to work out at home. Yes, you can do body weight, but if you want to do a proper workout, those are the absolute necessities. But the ones I'm talking about are things that I use almost on a daily basis. They're not mandatory, but they've made a huge difference, especially if you're trying to build strength. So there are other ways that you can build muscle, like time under tension. There are many techniques you could use, like pause sets, or you could use eccentrics, but strength cannot be replaced with that. Progressive overload cannot be replaced. The first equipment that I want to talk about is this guy. It's pretty heavy. It's a 20 kilo weighted vest. A vest is something I think people get as their first thing once they start training at home, and normally you use it for either for rows, or you'd use it for, let's say, doing pull-ups. I don't prefer to use them that way because of the way they load on your shoulders and the way they're placed. I feel like they restrict your shoulder mobility, and that stops me from actually getting my full strength and actually doing the pull-up the right way. Now for rows, another thing that I don't like about it is the range of motion. I feel like when you wear your weighted vest, it limits your range of motion because you can't completely touch the chest. The place that I actually use my weighted vest the most is when I'm training my legs almost 2 times a week. So what I would do is I'd carry a certain amount of load with the dumbbells, but I need extra load. So when I'm doing my squats, or when I'm doing my lunges, or I'm doing my Bulgarian split squats, I would put the vest on, which is around 18 to 20 kilos, and I would use it that way. Second equipment that I want to talk about is this guy. It's the dip belt, right? The dip belt is something that I never thought I would use as much, but I almost use it. I'm pretty sure I use it every single day for some workout or the other. When I'm doing my chest for my dips, obviously I use my dip belt. When I'm doing my pull-ups, I use my dip belt. One of the reasons I use my dip belt for rows and for pull-ups especially, is because it's just the way that it loads. I feel like when you wear a weighted vest, apart from the way it places on your shoulder, it's just the way the weight is on your body. I feel like your weight's on top, and then your torso from hip down is just dangling around. Whereas when you load it from the hips using a dip belt, it loads from the hip. I can't really tell why it's better, but these are my working theories. It's just the way that your body is loaded, and also it's just easier on my shoulders, so I have more mobility, hence I can actually do the exercise properly. So I use them for rows as well. With rows, it's a little bit complicated. It's not as easy to get into position. So if you don't like it, I'm sure you can get away with a weighted vest. So the other thing that I learned over the 2 years is I've learned to DIY a lot of problems I've had. One of them you've already seen, I've included in the video, which is my DIY method to doing the sled work. I love sled work, and I was struggling to find a way, and I recently just found a way to do sled work. And the other one is using weights for your dip bar. You either need plates or you need dumbbells, right? I don't have plates, and it's quite expensive. Dumbbells I do have, but they're really uncomfortable to hold in position, and they just start swinging around. The alternative I found is something very cheap, and I'm pretty sure other people have done it as well. It's called sandbags. This guy. They're just sandbags, right? So they actually use for cinematography, like in camera work. You use them as a counterweight for your lights or your camera or whatever it is. I just figured, well, it's small, and that means I can hold it better, and it weighs a good amount of weight. That weighs around 8 kilos, and I use that as my weight. Now you can put multiple on top of each, not next to each other. You can hook them up, and have you got even heavier loads. The problem is, once you fix the weight, it's very hard to change the weight, as in you have to take the sand out, put the sand in, measure it out, and all that. But other than that, in terms of convenience factor and in terms of the price to use ratio, it's amazingly useful, right? So that's what I use, and that's the DIY method I found to use as weights for my dip bars, for pull-ups, dips, whatever. The third one that I use all the time, and I'm pretty sure this one I use every single day. There's not one workout that I don't use this for, which would be this guy. It's the heart rate monitor, specifically the chest one and not the optical heart rate. Now, this is not particularly for if you're training at home. Obviously, even if you're training in a gym or wherever it is, I think it's highly useful. I think you need it. You cannot do a workout without it. And obviously, if you don't have one, you could use an optical heart rate monitor, the ones in your watches, etc. They're good. They're not the most accurate. I feel this is way more accurate and consistent for whatever workout you do, whether that be light cardio, jogging, whatever, or a proper strength or Olympic lifting or something explosive. They work. They just get you results. And you know, when it comes to fitness, nutrition, the more accurate you can be and the more consistent you can be, the better results you're going to get. Now, that doesn't mean that without it, you won't be able to get through a workout or you're not going to get results. Of course you can. There are many ways. You can still use an optical heart rate and you can still get on the ballpark number and all that kind of stuff. But it's hard for me to say how useful it is. It's just made such a difference for me ever since I started using it every single day, because I can depend on those results and they're not very far off from the truth. So those would be the 3 equipments that I use almost on a daily basis.